The text message came during my lunch break at the office. Mom, cleaned out your old room. Finally getting rid of all that junk you left behind. I stared at the message for a long moment, my sandwich forgotten. Old room meant the bedroom I'd stayed in for 2 weeks last month when my apartment building had emergency repairs. Junk probably meant my entire life. Me, what exactly did you throw away? Mom, just old stuff. Broken laptop, some clothes, random papers. Nothing important. My blood went cold. Me, which laptop? Mom, the black one that doesn't turn on. Relax, it was garbage. I stood up so fast my chair rolled backward and hit the wall. 3 of my colleagues looked up from their desks. I forced myself to take a breath to keep my voice steady. Everything okay, Sarah? Martinez asked from across the room. Family emergency, I managed. I need to make a call. I walked quickly to the secure communications room, my federal badge swinging from its lanyard. My hands were shaking as I swiped into the restricted area. That laptop wasn't broken. It was encrypted with a 15-character password and biometric security. It contained 3 years of classified investigation files on an international cybercrime network worth $42 million in seized assets. And my mother had just sold it. I pulled up my mother's contact on my secure phone and called. She answered on the 3rd ring, her voice bright and cheerful. Sarah, we're just sitting down to Sunday dinner. Your brother and his wife are here. We'd love it if you could. Mom, where is the laptop? What? Oh honey, I sold it this morning. Some college kid gave me $500 cash. Can you believe it? $500 for a laptop that doesn't even work. I thought I was so. What was the buyer's name? My voice came out flat, professional. The voice I used when interviewing suspects. I don't know. He saw my Facebook Marketplace post and came right over. Why does it matter? It was just taking up space in. I need you to listen to me very carefully. That laptop was not mine to sell. It's federal property. You've committed a felony. There was a long pause. Then she laughed. Sarah, don't be dramatic. It was in your room. I assumed. You assumed wrong. I'm calling the cybercrime unit. Don't touch anything else in that room. Don't delete any messages. Don't contact that buyer. Do you understand? Sarah Jane Mitchell, I don't appreciate your tone. I'm your mother and I was just trying to help clean up your... I ended the call and immediately contacted my supervisor, Deputy Director Chen. He answered immediately. Mitchell. It's Sunday. This better be. Sir, we have a situation. My classified laptop was sold by a family member. Approximately 2 hours ago. All case files for Operation Silent Wire were on that device. The silence on the other end lasted 3 seconds. Then, Jesus Christ. Give me the address. I'm activating the emergency response team now. 15 minutes later, I pulled into my parents' driveway. 4 unmarked federal vehicles were already there, parked strategically to block any exits. My mother stood on the front porch, her face pale, clutching her phone. My father stood beside her, his expression somewhere between confused and angry. My brother Derek sat on the porch steps, his wife Amanda standing behind him with her hand on his shoulder. Both of them stared at the federal agents like they'd appeared out of thin air. I stepped out of my car, my badge clearly visible. Agent Rodriguez approached me first. Mitchell, the area is secure. Your mother has been very uncooperative. That's my mother's default setting, I said quietly. Where's Chin? Inside, reviewing the Facebook Marketplace messages. We're running a trace on the buyer now. My mother spotted me and immediately started down the steps. Sarah, what is going on? Why are there government agents in our house? I walked past her, following Rodriguez inside. My father grabbed my arm. Sarah, your mother made a simple mistake. There's no need for all this. Dad, she sold classified federal property to an unknown buyer. This isn't a simple mistake. This is a federal crime. Derek jumped to his feet. Oh, come on. Mom didn't know it was your work laptop. You left it here. What was she supposed to think? She was supposed to think, this isn't mine, I shouldn't sell it, I said, pulling my arm free from my father's grip. That's basic property law. But since she specifically sold federal government property without authorization, she's violated 18 U.S.C. Section 641. That's theft of government property. 10 years maximum sentence. Amanda's hand flew to her mouth. 10 years. Sarah, stop trying to scare everyone, my mother snapped, following me into the house. You're overreacting. It was just a laptop. Just tell them it was a mistake and we'll get it back. I'll call the buyer and... You will not contact the buyer, Deputy Director Chen said, emerging from what used to be my temporary bedroom. He was a compact man in his 50s, with steel gray hair and the kind of presence that made rooms go quiet. Mrs. Mitchell, I'm Deputy Director Chen of the FBI's Cybercrime Unit. Your daughter works under my command. The laptop you sold this morning contains classified information related to an ongoing federal investigation. The buyer's phone is already offline. He's either destroyed it or he knows what he has. My mother's face went from pale to white. Classified? Sarah's just she works with computers. She's not. I'm a supervisory special agent, I said quietly. I've been with the FBI for 6 years. The laptop you sold contains case files on an international cybercrime network responsible for stealing $42 million from U.S. financial institutions. Those files include witness identities, undercover agent information, and evidence that took 3 years to compile. Derek stood up slowly. Wait, you work for the FBI? Yes. Since when? Since I graduated from Quantico 6 years ago. My mother grabbed the porch railing. But, you said you worked in IT. You said it was boring office work. You said. I said exactly what I was supposed to say. My position requires operational security, meaning I don't advertise what I do. Chen was watching my mother carefully. Mrs. Mitchell, I need you to understand the severity of this situation. You sold a device containing information that, in the wrong hands, could compromise ongoing investigations, endanger federal agents, and potentially result in millions of dollars in additional losses. Whether you knew what was on that laptop is irrelevant. You sold property that didn't belong to you, and that property happened to be federal evidence. But I didn't know, my mother protested. Sarah, tell them I didn't know. Ignorance isn't a defense, I said. You saw a laptop in a room where I temporarily stayed. You made an assumption about ownership and you sold it. You didn't ask. You didn't call. You just sold it. Because you never answer your phone. You're always too busy with your important job to talk to your own family. My important job is literally protecting people from cybercriminals, I said. And right now, thanks to you, 3 years of work might be compromised. Agent Rodriguez appeared in the doorway. Sir, we have a location on the buyer. College student named Marcus Chen. No relation. Living in an apartment complex on Jefferson Avenue. Tech team is mobilizing now. Chen nodded. Take Mitchell with you. Mrs. Mitchell, you need to come with me for formal questioning. Questioning. My father stepped forward. Now wait just a minute. My wife made an honest mistake. Surely we can resolve this without. Mr. Mitchell, your wife sold federal property containing classified information. This isn't a negotiation. She will be questioned, and depending on what we recover and how this situation resolves, charges may be filed. Derek grabbed my arm as I moved to follow Rodriguez. Sir, come on. You can't let them arrest Mom. Just tell them it was a misunderstanding. I looked at him for a long moment. Derek, who'd borrowed my car 3 years ago and returned it with an empty tank and a dent he never mentioned. Derek, who'd forgotten to pay me back the $2,000 he'd borrowed for his wedding. Derek, who'd laughed the loudest when Mom made jokes about my boring computer job. It's not a misunderstanding, I said. It's theft of government property. Now let go of me. I have a laptop to recover. Marcus Chen lived in a third-floor walk-up that smelled like instant ramen and desperation. Rodriguez, 3 other agents, and I stood outside his door. I could hear movement inside. Rodriguez knocked. FBI. Open the door. The movement stopped. Mr. Chen, we know you purchased a laptop this morning from a Facebook Marketplace seller. We need to speak with you about that device. Open the door now. 30 seconds passed. Then the door opened slowly. Marcus Chen was 20, maybe 21, with dark circles under his eyes and the pallor of someone who spent too much time indoors. He looked at Rodriguez's badge and went even paler. I didn't do anything wrong, he said immediately. May we come in? He stepped back. The apartment was small, cluttered with computer equipment. And there on his desk was my laptop. Closed but plugged in. Did you turn it on? I asked, stepping past Rodriguez. Marcus shook his head quickly. I tried. It asked for some kind of password and then wanted a fingerprint. I was going to wipe it and reinstall the OS, but I haven't had time yet. Relief flooded through me so intensely I had to grip the edge of his desk. You haven't accessed any of the files? I couldn't. The security was... Wait, who are you? I held up my badge. Supervisory Special Agent Sarah Mitchell. That's my laptop. You purchased stolen federal property. I didn't steal anything. Some lady sold it to me on Facebook. I have the messages. Rodriguez moved to examine the laptop while I focused on Marcus. Show me the messages. He pulled out his phone with shaking hands, opening Facebook Marketplace. There were the messages with my mother. Her profile picture, a photo from Derek's wedding, smiled out at me from the screen. She said it was broken, that her daughter didn't want it anymore, Marcus said. $500 seemed fair for parts. I built computers. I was going to salvage the hard drive and sell the rest. I didn't know it was stolen. I swear. Rodriguez powered up the laptop. The FBI logo appeared on the screen, then the security prompt. He looked at me. Mitchell, you want to do the honors? I moved to the laptop, entered my password, pressed my thumb to the sensor. The system unlocked, displaying the secure desktop I'd last seen 3 weeks ago. Every file was exactly where I'd left it. Thank God, I whispered. Rodriguez turned to Marcus. Mr. Chin, you're not being charged with anything. You purchased the laptop in good faith. However, we'll need a formal statement about the transaction. Am I in trouble? No. But the woman who sold you this laptop is. We returned to my parents' house 2 hours later. The street was now lined with federal vehicles. Neighbors stood on their lawns, phones out, filming. Mrs. Patterson from 3 doors down had her arms crossed, watching everything with undisguised fascination. My mother sat in the back of an unmarked car, her face blotchy from crying. My father stood nearby, arguing with another agent. Derek and Amanda sat on the porch steps, both looking shell-shocked. I walked past all of them, carrying my laptop in an evidence bag, and approached Deputy Director Chin. He was reviewing paperwork on the hood of his car. Laptop is secure, sir. No files accessed. No damage to the encryption. Good work, Mitchell. He glanced toward my mother. We need to make a decision about charges. What are you recommending? Technically, she violated federal law, but proving criminal intent would be difficult. She genuinely didn't know what was on the laptop. He paused. However, the fact remains that she sold property that wasn't hers without authorization, and that property happened to contain classified federal information. At minimum, we're looking at reckless endangerment of federal operations. My father approached us. Agent Mitchell, please. Your mother didn't mean any harm. Surely you can understand that. I looked at him. Dad, if I had left that laptop at a coffee shop and someone stole it, I'd be fired. If I had stored classified files on an unsecured device, I'd be facing charges myself. The only reason this didn't turn into a complete disaster is because we recovered it before the buyer could access it. But she's your mother. Which is exactly why I'm not the one making this decision. I'm too close to this situation. Deputy Director Chin will determine if charges are filed. Chin closed his folder. Mrs. Mitchell will be released tonight with a formal warning. However, this incident will be documented in her permanent record. If she ever applies for any position requiring security clearance or background checks, this will be disclosed. Additionally, she's required to complete a federal property awareness course and pay a fine of $5,000. $5,000. Derek jumped to his feet. For selling a $500 laptop? For selling classified federal property without authorization, Chin corrected. She's getting off extremely lightly. If Agent Mitchell hadn't been family, if the laptop had been accessed, if any of those files had been compromised, your mother would be facing federal charges with mandatory minimum sentences. Be grateful we recovered it intact. He nodded to the agents by the car. They opened the door, helping my mother out. She stumbled toward me, mascara streaked down her face. Sarah, please. Tell them this is all a mistake. Tell them you forgive me. I can't do that, Mom. Why not? I'm your mother. I raised you. You sold my property without asking me. You made assumptions about my life, my work, my possessions. You've done that my entire life. Assume you know better. Assume you understand. You don't. I was trying to help. No, you were trying to control. There's a difference. My father put his arm around her shoulders. Sarah, your mother made a mistake. Surely you can show some compassion. I looked at both of them for a long moment. Compassion would be me not testifying if this went to trial. Compassion would be me vouching for her character if federal charges were filed. Compassion would be me accepting that she genuinely didn't understand what she'd done. And I am showing that compassion. That's why she's going home tonight instead of spending the night in federal custody. But the fine is non-negotiable. And honestly, it's less than the $500 she got for the laptop. She's coming out ahead. Derek grabbed my shoulder. Sarah, we're family. Family helps each other. Can't you just? Family respects boundaries, I said, pulling away from him. Family doesn't sell each other's property. Family doesn't make assumptions about each other's lives. We didn't know you worked for the FBI. Because I couldn't tell you. Because my job requires operational security. Because the work I do is sensitive and dangerous and requires absolute discretion. I looked at my mother. But instead of respecting that I had my reasons for privacy, instead of asking before touching my things, you just assumed I was nobody important doing nothing important. My mother's face crumpled. I never said you were nobody. You didn't have to say it. You showed it. Every time you introduced me as Sarah, she works with computers. Every time you changed the subject when I tried to talk about work. Every time you made it clear that Derek's sales job was somehow more impressive than whatever I was doing. That's not fair, Derek protested. Isn't it? When was the last time Mom bragged about me at her book club? When was the last time Dad told his golf buddies about my career? You don't even know what I do because you never bothered to ask past the surface level. Chin cleared his throat. Mitchell, we need to transport the laptop back to the field office. You riding with us? Yes, sir. I turned to walk toward the federal vehicles. My mother called after me. Sir, wait. When will we see you again? I paused, looking back at her. I don't know, Mom. I need some time to think about boundaries and respect and what family actually means. You can't just abandon your family. I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm protecting myself. There's a difference. 3 days later, I sat in Deputy Director Chen's office, reviewing the final incident report. The laptop had been thoroughly examined by our tech team. Every file was intact. No breaches. No compromises. Operation Silent Wire could continue. Chin signed the final page and closed the folder. Mitchell, I have to say, you handled that situation with remarkable professionalism given the personal nature of it. Thank you, sir. How are things with your family? I thought about the 17 missed calls from my mother, the 12 text messages from Derek, the email from my father asking me to be reasonable. I hadn't responded to any of them. Complicated, I said finally. They understand now what you do? They understand I work for the FBI. I don't think they understand what that actually means yet. Chin nodded slowly. Operational security exists for a reason. But I imagine it's difficult when it means keeping secrets from family. The secrets aren't the hard part, sir. The hard part is them assuming the secrets mean I'm not important, that my work doesn't matter, that I'm just killing time until I find something better. I paused. My mother sold my laptop because she genuinely believed it was worthless. That's what hurts. For what it's worth, Agent Mitchell, your work here has saved millions of dollars and protected countless victims. You're one of the best analysts I've ever supervised. Your family's inability to see that is their loss, not yours. Thank you, sir. He handed me a new laptop, this one with even more robust security features. Try not to leave this one at your parents' house. I managed a small smile. I'll keep it handcuffed to my wrist, sir. That Sunday I didn't go to family dinner. Instead, I worked late at the office reviewing case files for Operation Silent Wire. My phone buzzed constantly. Mom, Derek, Dad, Amanda, even my Aunt Carol, who I hadn't spoken to in 2 years. But I ignored them all. Around 8 p.m. Martinez knocked on my door. Mitchell, you're still here? Just finishing up some reports. You know, most people spend Sunday with their families. Most people's families don't sell their classified laptops on Facebook Marketplace. He winced. Yeah, I heard about that. That must have been intense. It was educational, I said. I learned that my mother values $500 more than respecting my property. I learned that my family still sees me as the little sister who needs their guidance and protection. I learned that 6 years with the FBI and 3 years investigating major cybercrime means less to them than Derek's entry-level sales position. Families are complicated. Families are supposed to respect each other. There's nothing complicated about that. Martinez leaned against the doorframe. You going to talk to them eventually? Eventually. When I figure out what to say beyond, you committed a federal crime and I'm still processing that. For what it's worth, you did the right thing. Following protocol, recovering the laptop, not letting family connections compromise the investigation. That took guts. It took training, I corrected. This is what we do. We don't let personal feelings interfere with federal investigations. Even when the suspect is your mom? Especially when the suspect is my mom. 2 weeks later, my mother paid her $5,000 fine. She called me immediately afterward, crying. Sarah, I paid it. The fine is paid. Can we please talk now? What do you want to talk about? I want to apologize. I want to make this right. I want my daughter back. I sat in my car in the FBI field office parking lot, watching agents come and go. Mom, I'm not the daughter you think I am. I never was. What does that mean? It means you've spent years making assumptions about who I am, what I do, what matters to me. You've never actually asked me about my life. You just decided you already knew. That's not true. I've always supported you. No, you've always had opinions about my choices. That's different from support. There was a long silence. Then, when did you become so cold? I'm not cold. I'm clear. There's a difference. Sarah, please. Come to dinner this Sunday. Let's talk properly. Let's fix this. I closed my eyes. I'll think about it. That's all I ask. Just think about it. Sunday came. I drove to my parents' house with my stomach in knots. My new laptop stayed in the field office safe. My personal phone stayed in my car. I walked to the front door with nothing but my badge, my keys, and a small recording device in my pocket. Force of habit after 6 years in federal law enforcement. My mother opened the door before I could knock. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her makeup careful, her smile fragile. Sarah, you came. I said I'd think about it. Come in. Everyone's here. Derek and Amanda sat at the dining room table, both looking uncomfortable. My father stood by the fireplace, his expression carefully neutral. The table was set for 5 with Mom's good china. The stuff she usually only brought out for holidays and Derek's important work functions. I sat down in my usual chair, the one at the end of the table where I could see both doors. Another habit from work. Sarah, my father began, we want to apologize. For selling my laptop? For not taking your work seriously, he corrected. For making assumptions. For treating you like you were still the little girl who needed our guidance. I waited. Derek cleared his throat. Look, Sarah, I looked up what FBI agents actually do. The cybercrime unit, the kind of cases you work. That stuff it's serious. It's dangerous. And we had no idea. You had no idea because you never asked. You never told us. Because I couldn't. Because my work requires operational security. Because the people I investigate are dangerous and the less you know, the safer you are. I looked around the table. But instead of respecting that I had my reasons, you all just assumed I was being secretive for no reason. You assumed I was ashamed of what I do. You assumed my job didn't matter. My mother wrung her hands. We never thought that. Then why did you sell my laptop without asking me? Why did you assume it was worthless? Why did you laugh when you told everyone you got $500 for it? She didn't have an answer. I stood up. I'm going to set some boundaries now. You're all going to listen and you're going to respect them, or I'm walking out that door and you won't see me again. Understood? 4 heads nodded. First, my work is not up for discussion. I can't tell you details about my cases. I can't tell you about ongoing investigations. I can't bring you to the office or introduce you to my colleagues. If you can't accept that, we can't have a relationship. Second, my personal property is off limits. You don't touch it, you don't move it, you don't sell it, you don't borrow it without explicit permission. If something belongs to me, assume it matters, even if you don't understand why. Third, you respect my time and my schedule. I can't always come to family dinners. I can't always answer my phone. When I say I'm busy, I'm not making excuses. I'm literally protecting people from criminals. I paused, looking at each of them. Can you do that? My father nodded slowly. We can do that. And we're sorry, my mother added quickly. We're so sorry, Sarah. We had no idea how important your work was, how much responsibility you carry. We should have trusted that you had reasons for your privacy. Yes, I said quietly. You should have. Derek shifted uncomfortably. Sarah, can I ask, what exactly do you do? I mean, I know you're with the FBI, but what's your actual role? I considered the question. I investigate cybercrime. Financial fraud, identity theft, ransomware attacks, organized hacking networks. I track criminals who think they're untouchable because they operate online. I build cases against people who steal millions of dollars from victims who never see them coming. I paused. The laptop Mom sold contained 3 years of evidence against a network that stole $42 million from U.S. banks. If that information had been compromised, 3 years of work would have been destroyed. Witnesses could have been identified and killed. Undercover agents could have been exposed. The entire investigation could have collapsed. The room was silent. That's what was on the laptop you sold for $500, I said, looking at my mother. That's what you almost destroyed. She started crying again. My father put his arm around her shoulders. We understand now, he said. We're sorry. I sat back down slowly. I need you to really understand. I don't have a boring office job. I don't sit in a cubicle playing on Facebook all day. I carry a weapon. I have arrest authority. I've testified in federal court. I've helped put criminals in prison for decades. This isn't a hobby or a phase or something I'm doing until I figure out what I really want to do with my life. This is my career. This is who I am. Amanda spoke for the first time. We're proud of you, Sarah. For what it's worth. I looked at her. Are you? Yes. Genuinely. What you do matters. It helps people. And it takes courage. She glanced at Derek. We should have recognized that sooner. Derek nodded reluctantly. Yeah. We should have. Dinner was awkward but civil. My mother asked careful questions about my apartment, my car, anything that wasn't work-related. My father talked about his golf game. Derek mentioned his latest sales numbers with less enthusiasm than usual, like he'd realized his triumph over closing a $1,000 account seemed small next to federal investigations worth millions. I left early, claiming exhaustion. My mother hugged me at the door. Will you come back? She whispered. Next week. Maybe. If I don't have a case emergency. Of course. Your work comes first. It was the first time she'd ever said that and actually meant it. 3 months later, Operation Silent Wire concluded successfully. We arrested 17 members of the cybercrime network, seized $42 million in assets, and shut down their entire operation. It made national news. The FBI press conference featured Deputy Director Chen prominently, but our team got recognition internally. My mother called me the day after the press conference. Sarah, was that your case? The one on the news. I can't discuss active investigations, Mom. But it's not active anymore. It's concluded. They arrested everyone. I smiled despite myself. Yes, that was my case. 3 years, she said quietly. You worked on that for 3 years. And I almost destroyed it. But you didn't. We recovered the laptop in time. The operation was successful. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm so sorry. I know, Mom. I know. Family dinners became monthly instead of weekly. I showed up when I could, left when I needed to. Nobody questioned my schedule anymore. Nobody made jokes about my boring computer job. Nobody sold my property. It wasn't perfect. My family still didn't fully understand what I did. They never would. Operational security meant I'd always be keeping secrets. But they respected my boundaries now. They respected that my work mattered even if they couldn't see it. And honestly, that was enough.